I just wanted to ask you a few questions today on behalf of Napa High Journalism.
Sure.
What's your opinion on the new mascot?
Well, I think there were some really good choices, and I think the Grizzly was one of my favorites. So personally, I thought the Grizzly was a great choice, and I'm glad to see that student body selected the Grizzly.
Do you think it's a big deal to have a different mascot?
Well, I think it's a big deal to a lot of people. A lot of people are really connected to the Indian. I mean, the Indian's been here for a long time as our mascot, and we have a lot of people who are associated with the school, have been associated with the school for a long time. So it was definitely a big deal to them losing the mascot. I think that, you know, the students, you guys would know, but I think students are a little indifferent. Some are very connected, but some, you know, just based on the response that I saw at the rally and such, didn't seem to be too dismayed by it. So I'm hoping that we can move forward and, you know, adopt the Grizzly as our mascot moving forward, and I think that could be a great mascot for us.
I agree. Do you see potential issues with this new mascot? If you do, please elaborate.
Potential issues? No, I mean, you know, in terms of, I think the Grizzly is it's an animal that demands a lot of respect just because of its, you know, its size and its what it's capable of doing in terms of just strength, size and strength. And so, I mean, I think it's a respected symbol, and I think it has a connection to Napa, you know, being here many, many years ago. So I think that's all positive.
I think the mascot is a better alternative to the Indians, but the Indians had so much history going behind it that many people are they disagree with the mascot change.
Do you believe that there's going to be any new potential issues with the mascot?
As far as I know, animals wouldn't be caught up in law issues such as an Indian, so I don't believe that would happen.
Do you believe it's a big deal to have a new mascot?
I think it is a big deal after having our mascot for so many years and losing it so quickly. And what I do know is that there was efforts in order to stop it on the student side, but it is saddening to lose it.
Do you believe that there's going to be any new potential issues with the mascot?
I don't see any new potential issues with this mascot. I mean, at the start there was arguments, but I feel that everybody's kind of satisfied that we have something that still represents our pride and our energy.
Do you believe it's a big deal to have a new mascot?
In my honest opinion, I do.
What's your opinion on the mascot?
I'm not a big fan of the Grizzlies. The fact that we had to change our mascot in general is a really big deal for me. Just because I came in as a specific mascot already, and then having it change, going through all the changes for it is going to be really difficult.
Do you see any new potential issues with the mascot?
I think there could be, just because it's a grizzly, it's an animal, and then people could portray it as something bad.
What are your opinions on the mascot?
I never enjoyed the Indian mascot when I moved here 30 years ago. I thought it was kind of old-fashioned. I was surprised they still used it. So I was happy they finally made the change.
Do you believe that there's going to be any new potential issues with the mascot?
I don't think so. I think the mascot seemed to matter more to older people than with current students. So current students are going to have a problem with it. I think more and more people are going to be happy with Grizzlies.
Perfect. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you. So, can you please describe your the school's thought process and decision process in the recommendation to change the mascot?
Well, first of all, the recommendation to change the mascot was not a Napa High decision from the get-go. It was a Napa Valley Unified School District Board of Education decision. And so our community had to sit back and watch and participate through the process set up by the school board, not Napa High School. So for 2 years, it was out of our hands.
Can you please describe how it will benefit the school going forward?
I think after the board made their decision in March of 2018, they directed Napa High to form 2 committees, one committee to select a new mascot and one committee to retire the Indian as our mascot. And so that's really the first time Napa High has had a chance to lead the process. And so the process moving forward to selecting a new mascot was all student-led, and it continues to be student-led, and it will we'll have the students lead the way in the selection, which they did, and also the implementation of the new mascot, obviously with adult support, but with very student-centered focus.
Can you describe the committee's thought process and decision process and the recommendations to change the mascot?
Sure. We use something called interests-based negotiation. So our very first meeting, we didn't talk about the mascot at all. Instead, we said, what are our interests? So everyone came in and most people knew they either wanted the mascot to stay or wanted the mascot to change. Instead, we were encouraged to ignore that for a moment and say, why do we want whatever it is that we want? And what we all decided is that we had a very similar list of interests. Everyone was interested in having respect. Everyone was interested in having an empathetic and respectful process in whatever was going to happen. People wanted a chance to have a voice in something that mattered to them. They wanted there to be healing in the school. They wanted to honor school culture and history and pride. And then there was also an amount of, we want some social justice, we want to make sure we're understanding all perspectives, we want to make sure we're being inclusive, so on and so forth. That was what we called our interests. And then our entire conversation was based on those interests. And at the end of all of our research that we were given, we decided that the only way we could meet all of our interests was to change the mascot. It might be more accurate to say that there was no way we could meet those interests and keep the mascot, given what we had learned.
How do you think this will benefit the school going forward?
I think that given that we're going to acknowledge the Indian as a proud part of our history, that this will be an amazing talking point and place of growth for us. Because we'll be able to talk about why it was a bad idea to have a very stereotypical Plains Indian image for our mascot that looked nothing like the local tribes, and why we cared about it. So we can use it as a way of talking about history and growth over time and a little bit of social justice. I also think that our new mascot, the grizzly, is going to be something we can really rally upon because it ties into our more recent history of California history. And I think that is, frankly, more important and has more of a direct connection to our students and staff now than an image that is not historically accurate to a tribe that most of us do not belong to.